What is your job and what does your day in the life look like? I'm an archaeologist. A lot of archaeologists like me work in the construction industry, rather than for a university or a museum. Basically, anytime someone wants to build something, the land has to get surveyed for anything that could be archaeologically significant. My company gets hired to survey the site. If we find stuff, we often get hired to dig it up. Most days are spent walking through woods and farmer fields. We check for evidence of sites, dig small test pits and make lots of maps. Sometimes we find a cool site and get to spend a few weeks fully excavating it. I service swimming pools in Florida. I do 20 a day, 100 a week. I balance chemicals and make these pools pretty for my homeowners. Even after 20 years at the same company, I still love my job. I work at a CVS pharmacy. It's the worst existence I can think of. Verbal abuse all day every day. The doctor didn't send in your script. My fault. Insurance won't pay for 4 tramadol tablet per day. My fault. Copay too high. Oh geez, sorry, I'll just adjust your insurance formulary for you because I work for your insurance, right? Not to mention the stress of trying to fill 10 scripts in the next 5 minutes while also answering non-stop phone calls only to have someone blow up at you because they had to wait 5 fucking minutes. It makes me want to kill myself. For real. School bus driver, 6 a.m. Crawl my happy ass out of bed to be at work in 15 minutes. It'll still be dark out when I'm driving most of the route and most of my coworkers will see me, so absolutely no effort goes into looking presentable besides putting clothes on. 6:15. Pre-trip the bus, making sure it isn't going to fall apart or catch on fire, Jenna*. Occasionally tell the mechanics something's horribly wrong, and have to run to go pre-trip another bus when I can't take mine. If that happens, it becomes blatantly obvious how much of driving a bus is muscle memory as I struggle to do basic things like open the door and set the parking brake. 6:40. Drive around out in the country, playing tag with deer and other small animals, picking up the 4 or so kids that live out there before making my way back into town to pick up more people. Intersperse this with telling elementary school kids to stay TF in their seats. Around 7:30 or so I'll drop everyone off, post-trip my bus, and go home. 8 o'clock to 11 a.m. Mess around at home, not doing any of the productive things I should be doing. I occasionally use this time for a danger nap, that is, a nap I didn't intend to take with no safeguards in place to ensure I actually wake up at the time I'm supposed to. 11:15 to 1 p.m. Me and another bus driver take the preschoolers to preschool. It's my job to get them on the bus and buckled in their seats. Besides 1 or 2 of them screaming every now and then, this is the easiest part of my job, but because I'm only the aide and not the driver I get paid less, so it'd be real great if my driver finally quits like he says he's been going to for all year. 1 o'clock to 2:30 p.m. I get to clean some of the buses they use for activities and field trips. Since the whole coronavirus thing, these buses have basically sat unused, meaning I get free money to invest into $GME. 2:30 to 3:45. Pre-trip the bus, go and pick up the elementary school students. Because of the way things have had to be rescheduled this year, we now have to sit in the high school parking lot with the elementary schoolers on the bus for about half an hour, and it's just as terrible as it sounds. 3:45, 4:50, take everybody home. My least behaved students are some of the last to get dropped off out in the country, of course. I'm pretty sure at this point my high schoolers and middle schoolers could start a satanic cult in the back of the bus and I wouldn't know or care because I'm too busy dealing with the elementary schoolers in the front of the bus. Get back to the lot, post-trip the bus again, plug the bus in, and go home. Edit. I should have done this post on my main. Social worker. I spend 75% of my day on the phone listening to really sad stories and do my best to find a solution or some assistance. Confused face. Then the other 25% documenting the crap out of everything like my life depends on it. I work in a group home for the developmentally disabled. My day can have several different ways it can go, but it's usually just hanging out in a nice house helping out some peeps who have trouble with everyday tasks. Some days I'm a nurse, others a personal chef, a handyman, chauffeur. You name it. I distribute and translate board games. It's about as exciting as you'd expect. I'm a night watchman at a museum. I patrol the galleries after hours and in my downtown I'm free to do as I like. A great position as I like to bring work in to do and my days are free. I can watch TV, I can work on my own art practice. The rare bad day is dealing with monitoring system failure or a facility issue, a busted HVAC or blown pipes. It's a very chill job with a lot of agency so long as you don't violate the high level of trust and don't mind the hours. How many times a week do the exhibits come to life? I'm an undertaker and depending on the day, I bring deceased into my care from hospital mortuaries or sometimes during the day I will get called out to a private address or care home hospice. Majority of most days I will be out on funerals, driving the hearse limousine and bearing the coffin into the crematorium or lowering into a grave. I will prepare and dress the deceased ready for funerals and viewings. I will also line and fit coffins and engrave nameplates among general cleaning of the funeral home and vehicles. It can be pretty full on physically as well as emotionally, but I really appreciate my job and the comfort I can help bring to some families. Lawyer. About 40% of time is spent writing emails to clients, trying to answer questions as diplomatically as possible, to administrative bodies trying to get any form of information in order to answer clients. 30% of the time is spent investigating useless rumors that clients spend their time thinking up, but my boyfriend's mother's aunt's cat said there was a magical way to get XYZ in 5 seconds and with no documentation, why can't I? Or finding where exactly the law says that a contract signed using a power of attorney must have the identification of the attorney. 5% writing answers to the court and/or filing petitions. 25% existential doubt about why I bothered studying for this in the first place. I'm unemployed. I was a 911 dispatcher who just couldn't do it any longer. Now my day is sitting in a parking lot hoping to get an Uber Eats delivery order so I can make a little bit of cash for bills. I have no clue what to do anymore. Not to be crude, just curious, don't you find your job repetitive? How do you still stay on the same job and love it? Sorry if I sound condescending, but I'm actually in awe. I'm afraid that I won't love my career in the long run someday. I am a Navy mechanic. I show up and fix whatever the sailors manage to break. I'm an armed security guard for a nightclub. I get paid by shift, but if you do the math I make about $35 an hour. I get to work at 9 p.m. and usually leave around 4 a.m. I spend 92% of my nights checking IDs, playing on my phone and searching people for weapons. 8% of my nights breaking up fights or arguments. But I spend 100% of my nights hoping I don't get jumped, hit with a glass bottle, or shot. I work at Subway. I normally go in early as hell so I have time to cry in the cooler for a minute. I'm a zookeeper, I love it, but for the most part it's pretty unglamorous. I spend 10% of my time talking to the public, 10% of my time playing with animals, 20% doing paperwork, and the other 60% is preparing food or shoveling various forms of poop. And depending on the species, the poop can be easily 1,000 times worse than dog or cow poop. I type this comment as I'm just getting home from a day of cleaning the otter enclosure, and my husband still won't enter the room with me even after a shower. I work at Costco, my average day is similar to this. I work in horse breeding and it is horrible. I lost my job as a waitress during the pandemic and was looking for work, and thought, hey, I rode horses for a while in high school, let's apply for this. And the salary was better than a waitress. But the work is just plain gross. Spending all day around stinky, horny as fuck stallions who want to fuck anything that moves, particularly if it smells like a mare, cleaning smegma out of horse penises. No fun. I'm not sure how I'm still here, except the money's good. And GT, cleaning smegma out of horse penises, you've introduced me to a whole new world of nasty. I wish I could unread this. I work in a central kitchen for Meals on Wheels and we provide anywhere from 400 to 600 meals a day for our county. There are only 4 of us that make the food and 1 person is in charge of dessert and only works 16 hours a week. We start our day at 4:30 and the meals go out at 10. We rely on volunteers for help serving and delivery. I think our volunteer count was around 200 last I heard. Most of them are retired or people taking time during their lunch break to deliver 10 to 12 meals for their route. All the food is made from scratch and we run our operation out of an old nursing home kitchen. Our equipment is old and a little run down, but we make it work.